Welcome to the Top Dog Alumni Awards Gala, a proud Fresno State tradition. Since 1953, the Fresno State Alumni Association has recognized more than 325 recipients for their contribution to Fresno State, the community, and the world.
It gave me a reason to stop and pause and think about my university and all the things that Fresno State has been for me.
I never really imagined myself in that category. And I can tell you, I just feel completely humbled by it.
This is really special. To me, this is being in a Hall of Fame for Fresno State.
I feel blessed more than anything else that, an institution recognizes what you've done and they're carrying it forward.
Tonight, we share 14 bold stories of our remarkable alumni and friends and reflect on their notable accomplishments. These individuals serve as an inspiration to us all. Thank you for joining us as we proudly celebrate our top dogs. And now, please welcome Fresno State Alumni Association's president, Mr. Brian Domingos, Jr.
Good evening and welcome. On behalf of the Fresno State Alumni Association's Board of Directors, we're delighted to host the annual 2017 Top Dog Alumni Awards Gala. I'm excited to be here tonight to celebrate the contributions each of you make every day in this region and in our world. The Fresno State Alumni Association is proud to be connected with our community and serve as a conduit for engagement with our alumni and friends. I can tell you without reservation that our Alumni Association is one of the best, and we're considered a leader among our peer universities. This could not be made possible without the individuals that guide our organization each and every day. I'd like to ask the Fresno State Alumni Association's Board of Directors to please stand and stay standing. This group of bulldogs passionately volunteers their time and serve to guide our organization with determination and strategic focus. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your exemplary service. You may be seated. Will the past Alumni Association presidents please stand and stay standing? Thanks to this strong tradition of leadership, we've ensured the livelihood of the Fresno State Alumni Association and its ongoing commitment to student success and alumni engagement. Thank you for your continued dedication and support. You may take your seats. Lastly, I'd like to give thanks to the Alumni Association staff. Our staff has an unparalleled and genuine desire to make a difference day in and day out. They truly make this university stronger. Special recognition is due to our executive director, Jackie Glazner, as we celebrate 20 years of exemplary service to the Fresno State Alumni Association. Under Jackie's leadership, we've grown from a 3-person staff to a 14-member team that works hard to make a difference on campus and in our community. I can tell you I truly enjoy the time I get to spend working with this team. Please give a round of applause to Jackie and the Alumni Association staff. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me as we celebrate the success of our Top Dog honorees. As a proud Fresno State alum, I continue to be amazed by our alumni stories. As I reflect on the strength of the Fresno State degree, one thing remains clear. As alumni, you are Fresno State storytellers, and you are Fresno State's story. Tonight, we celebrate our remarkable alumni and have the privilege of telling their stories, stories that echo pride, dedication, tenacity, and genuine grit. These individuals embrace the we and not the I, and serve as an inspiration to being the true meaning of a bulldog. Being a bulldog means hard work, showing up, and committing to moving our valley forward. Being a bulldog means investing in where we live, taking pride in our community, and in the positive momentum that we are building together. As we share in the bold stories of tonight's honorees, carry their inspiration with you as you continue to determine how you make your own personal impact. What's your bulldog story? Take a moment to find it, share it, and serve as an inspiration to others. Now, Please help me welcome Fresno State President, Dr. Joseph I. Castro.
Good evening, everybody. You look great. Thank you. Well, I want to thank Brian for his leadership of our Fresno State Alumni Association Board of Directors. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Mary and I are very pleased to welcome all of you to the 2017 Top Dog Alumni Awards Gala. Tonight, we celebrate excellence. Excellence that has been demonstrated by our distinguished alumni and friends, including our Top Dog recipients, past and present, and all of you in the room tonight who proudly champion our university. And excellence that is being demonstrated here at Fresno State every single day by our talented students, faculty, staff, and administration. In this beautifully decorated space, we have the current generation of leaders sitting alongside our talented students, the next generation of leaders. And I think I see them right over there on the left. Leadership and excellence are inextricably linked in my mind. It is through hard work, focus, and discovery, along with support and mentorship by others, that leaders are developed and excellence in a chosen field is achieved. This is why I am inspired by Fresno State's Learn Through Serving philosophy. Through service learning courses, students develop a deeper understanding of what it means to be a professional in their chosen field by learning in a real-world setting and working directly with residents of all ages to meet the authentic needs of our communities. Service learning challenges students to work collaboratively, communicate effectively, and exercise new skills that will aid them in achieving excellence in life. And as you know from your personal experiences, there are no shortcuts to excellence. Fresno State's a great example of this. From our humble beginning in 1911, through the hard work and persistence of so many of you and the generations who came before us. Washington Monthly recently ranked us as among the top 20 universities in our nation. And I have to tell you, those universities, there are only 16 of them ahead of us. They better watch out because we're hot on the trail. We have much to celebrate with the very positive national attention focused on our increased academic distinction. Now more than ever is a time to be bold as one Bulldog family in our continued efforts to provide a quality and affordable education for talented students who represent the rich diversity of our valley and beyond. And your continued support will be vitally important as we sustain and strengthen our student success efforts. Fresno State's growing academic distinction is concrete evidence that talent exists in every household, regardless of income level or a prior family history of college going. By educating and empowering our students for success, we are preparing them to lead with new ideas and a heart filled with compassion as they advocate for actions that serve the greater good of our society. The Valley's future is filled with almost unlimited potential. Our region has one of the youngest and most diverse populations in the nation. At the same time, the Valley, which is the worldwide hub for agriculture, is not yet growing enough graduates with bachelor's degrees, especially in the fields of science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and math. I think we're going to hear a little bit more about that from my friend Bill Lyles in a little while. But a recent study indicates that while the Valley has 11% of California's population, we have just 6% of the state's population with bachelor's degrees. So we have more work to do. And as all of our top dogs know well, the road to success is neither smooth nor straight. Bill Lyles gained strength and compassion by dealing with bullies as a middle school student. And Kim Beck and her family have navigated the complex landscape of different state regulations as her company rapidly expanded outside of California. These lessons exemplify what is possible with hard work, focus, a desire to learn and support from one another. And together, as one big bulldog family, our continued focus on excellence and pride in fostering future top dogs will help to elevate the Valley and state to new heights of success. Thank you again for attending tonight, and congratulations to each of our newest top dogs. Go Dogs! And now, please welcome tonight's Master of Ceremonies, my friend, Mr. Larry Powell.
Before I get started, I want to thank the 11 friends that I have that adjusted my bow tie for me. And so if during the course of the evening I see you with a thumbs up from the right hand, I'll adjust it this way. If I see it from the left hand, I'll adjust it this way, but I appreciate what you've done. Good evening. It's an honor to be your Master of Ceremonies as we proudly recognize our outstanding 2017 Top Dog recipients. It was almost 10 years ago that I stood on this very stage and was honored with the Outstanding Alumnus Award on behalf of the Kremen School of Education and Human Development. The Top Dog Alumni Awards Gala is celebrated tradition that the Fresno State Alumni Association allows us to honor those that have made amazing accomplishments and inspired alumni and friends. As we recognize tonight's recipients, it's a perfect time to reflect on the prestigious group of top dogs that have come before. As you enjoy tonight's dinner, scrolling on the screen above, you will see the names of the former Top Dog recipients, more than 325 in total. The first distinguished alumnus was awarded in 1953 and took place at our university's commencement ceremony. The Distinguished Alumnus Award is given based on scholarship, service, leadership to the university. It was established to recognize individuals that have distinguished themselves in their post-collegiate career on a national or international level. In 1975, we introduced the Arthur Safstrom Service Award to recognize individuals who have given outstanding service to the Fresno State Alumni Association and to the university. It wasn't until 1994 that we began awarding our Outstanding Alumni Award, growing this program to the scale of what it is today. Tonight, we celebrate the legacies of these exceptional alumni. At this time, we welcome past Top Dog recipients to stand so that we can thank you for your continuing care and commitment to Fresno State. Please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. As we share tonight's stories with you, one thing becomes clear. Fresno State alumni have made a bold impact on our community and the world. Let the story begin at Fresno State.
The first time I stepped on the campus at Fresno State, I was completely lost. I had been by the place a few hundred times, Me and my dad had snuck into the stadium to throw the ball around, probably even more than that.
Nervous, anxious. You didn't have iPhones then, so navigating campus, was always challenging. But I think once I got here, it really was like home.
I was overwhelmed and awed all at the same time. First of all, I couldn't believe that I got in, and then I was wondering whether I could stay.
In all honesty, my first impression here was absolute terror. I had to learn to be a little bit more serious of a student and not quite goof around as much.
I mean, I went to Bullard High and we had 175 kids in our class. I come out here and we had a freshman orientation in what is now the North Gym. And, there's like 3,000 students and it's like, holy mackerel.
I loved the buildings and the trees and the whole environment. It just really touched my heart to be here. And then when I got into the classes, what I found is all of my teachers were all in. They were all in with helping us students reach our educational dreams and our career hopes.
I come back here and there's this huge football stadium and huge baseball field that those things weren't there when I came to school here. And the Smith Camp Alumni House and the Save Mart Center, all these things that are amazing.
I remember driving onto campus on a Saturday morning to go to the Craig School of Business and just overwhelmed at, gosh, what was I, 40 years old, right? It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit daunting.
I remember calling my dad when I was a junior and I had taken a class from Dr. Doug Cords. Loved him. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I want to change my major. I want to be a marketing major. And my father, in this really quiet Navy captain voice, said, no, you don't.
Professors were phenomenal. The quality of the teachers here were, even compared to a UC, it was equal or better.
My mother came back to Fresno State after my brother and I were in school. She stayed home with us when we were little and came back to school later. And so there were many times that I actually came to class with my mother at Fresno State and sat in the back of the room. And I was able to color in the back and listen to her learn how to be a teacher.
I was an English major and I read all over the place, mostly relatively contemporary stuff. I'm really not proud to say that I managed to graduate as an English major without taking a Shakespeare class, but I've been working, for many, many years subsequently to make up for that.
You can have every degree behind your name, but if you never put it into practice, then you never will achieve your goals and your dreams. You have to work hard at it, and you have to keep going. Fresno is so fortunate to have this university here.
You just caught a glimpse of tonight's honorees. As their stories unfold, you will hear how they have strengthened Fresno State through leadership, mentoring, internships, and giving. Tonight, we would like to shine a spotlight on donor giving through student scholarships. Every year, because of generous donor support, Fresno State awards more than $4.1 million in scholarships.
Hello, I am Blake Zanti, and I serve as the president of Associated Students Incorporated, Fresno State student government. Our Bulldogs are being bold, and I would like to share a glimpse of what student success looks like at Fresno State. It is an interesting perspective to think that students and alumni are the same people, just at different stages on their Fresno State journey. As we celebrate our alumni, we share recognition with the next generation of leaders, students. Your Fresno State students are doing amazing things on campus and in the community. And thanks to you, Fresno State ranks among the top 3 best public universities in graduation rate performance nationwide. With your help, our students work hard to promote the mission of the university, serve the greater good, and cultivate partnerships with our community. Through the Jan and Bud Richter Center for Community Engagement and Service Learning, Fresno State students faculty, and staff joined together to provide more than 1.2 million hours of service to the community, equaling an estimated economic value of over $33.8 million. Through service to others, students gain knowledge, experience, and appreciation for the industries that drive our valley and our region. Because of you, student life programs continue to help students build community, become engaged in campus life, and enhance learning beyond the classroom. Your Bulldogs are part of 271 formally recognized student organizations. Thanks to you, students are participating in hands-on learning programs. The Jordan College opened the Be Sweet Citrus Fresh Fruit packing line on campus in February of 2017. It is the first of its kind on a college campus and provides students with hands-on instruction in operating and maintaining a modern automated system. With your support, our Bulldog athletes are continuing to excel in the classroom. Last year, Fresno State student athletes earned a cumulative 3.12 grade point average, our 10th straight year over a 3.0. 153 Bulldogs earned academic All-Mountain West honors, and 79 student athletes were honored as Mountain West Scholar athletes, earning a cumulative 3.5 grade point average for the year. Because of your help, our colleges are hosting national conferences and showcasing student design, innovation, and research. Students are excelling in learning opportunities and taking these out into our community. Thanks to your donations, 1,500 students have been provided professional clothing since April 2016 by the Fresno State Clothing Closet, receiving national recognition for commitment to student success. Fresno State's Career Services helped 9,300 student job seekers through Hire Fresno State. Because of you, over 51,000 students had access to more than 200,000 pounds of food. With your help, our March matchup efforts supporting the student cupboard raised $184,000. Thanks to you, more than 80% of Craig School graduates report gaining full-time employment within 3 months of graduation. With your help, engineering students hosted the 10th annual Projects Day, featuring more than 100 engineering and construction management projects addressing manufacturing and energy solutions, solar wastewater treatment, security, irrigation, and highway interchanges. Because of you, physical therapy students completed the first ever doctoral level service learning course in the CSU. Thanks to you, over 1,700 first-generation Bulldogs were provided with the specialized services to support student success. My fellow Bulldogs believe in the future and sought out academic advising over 4,000 times in the last academic year. It is important to recognize the generosity of our scholarship donors for giving students the opportunities to excel at Fresno State. It is with your support that these achievements are made possible. Because of you, opportunity starts here for Fresno State students, and one day we will give that opportunity to others. Thank you. Many of our student scholarship recipients are here with us tonight to thank you for making the dream of higher education come true. Congratulations to our recipients, and thank you to all. My fellow students, take this moment to be inspired by our alumni stories and connect with the alumni and community members around you. These are the mentors offering their hand to guide you to success in your education. Please be seated and enjoy the rest of your evening. At this time, Dinner will be served. Thank you.
Without further ado, let's meet our honorees. Our first recipient has built a life on service and is actively committed to improving our community through agriculture, education, and healthcare.
I am the daughter of a career Navy officer, so I grew up moving every 2 years. I was born at Bethesda Naval Hospital and ended up going to high school in San Diego. That was my longest time I lived anywhere. So it was from there that I launched into my career here at Fresno State and in the Valley. I made friends instantly. The dorms were a great experience, and it was really wonderful. I love my time at Fresno State. It was just, I still have good friends from those days, and it was wonderful. It's amazing to me how much things have changed in relatively short order, because when I was a little girl, I only thought girls could teach, be a nurse. I don't know if I knew anything else besides that, and then maybe be a home ec major. Today, 40 years later, young women have infinite choices, but in just that short period of time, the choices have multiplied. We took classes in household equipment, like how to buy a vacuum cleaner, and when you say it out loud now, you're thinking, that was a college class, but it was a college class. Textiles, interior design, pattern making. I met my dear friend Linda Smitkamp in a pattern making class in 1974, and we still laugh about that. A skill that isn't particularly helpful, but we had it and we got it. But we had a great time. I had a wonderful experience at Fresno State. So 2 years turned to 4, turned to a master's degree, and 40 some years later. It was been a good spot. It's a good spot for me. It's really that commitment to the common good and sense of community that I feel driven to do that. There's a quote by John Wesley, and I can't cite it, but it basically says, do as much as you can for as long as you can for as many as you can. And I think that makes sense. I just think you want to look back and say, did I make it a better place? I sometimes get frustrated because the problems are sort of bigger than they were 40 years ago. Like, dang it, how did that happen? But I just think the collective work toward those things it's our only chance. So I guess it's just about the common good, trying to work for something besides yourself. And I think that's where the secret lies.
It is with great pleasure that I present the 2017 Outstanding Alumna Award on behalf of the Jordan College of Agriculture, Sciences, and Technology to Lynn Ashbeck, escorted by Dean Sandra Whitty.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my husband, Jeff, thanks to my 2 sons, Mike and Doug, my sister, my dearest friends. I come all this way thanks to you.
Our next honoree is called a bulldog in the courtroom and works hard to give a voice to those who can't advocate for themselves. He has received recognition for his professional honors and shares his expertise through mentorship of Fresno State students.
My grandparents are survivors of the massacre, the Armenian genocide. And so I was born and raised in Fresno, California. I ended up going to Roosevelt High School and graduating from Roosevelt. Like many student athletes, I thought that sports was my way out, but I soon realized that education was the route to go. My grandfather was an editor of an Armenian newspaper here locally. And as time went on, I realized that journalism was something I wanted to do, and Fresno State afforded me that opportunity. I was able to write for 3 newspapers, the Insight, the Collegian, and then we also started an Armenian newspaper called the Hai Sharjum, which is still in existence to this day, which I'm very proud that I was able to write and create a voice for the Armenian community, at least the Armenian students. Fresno State taught me to dream big, and I learned that if you can dream big and you're determined, you can accomplish anything you want. I mean, I think you have to have a balance in life with a great family and then your academic career and your professional career. I think that keeps you balanced and molded, and without my wife Lisa, I would not be balanced or molded. I'd be kind of lost at sea, I believe. So I owe a great deal of gratitude to her. Being a lawyer for over 30 years, I've been very fortunate in representing some great clients, and I've gotten some great results. But the most that I'm proud of is my ability to help the little guy that doesn't have the voice. I believe it's important to stay connected with the university because the university is what's going to help the community grow. The programs that the university provides, the Alumni Association, the football program, the athletic department, everything brings our community together. And I look at Fresno State University as a very important role for molding our young generation. If a kid from Ventura Street can do all this, then anybody out there watching this video should set their goals high. Don't set your expectations low. Shoot for the stars.
It is with great pride that I present the 2017 Outstanding Alumnus Award on behalf of the College of Arts and Humanities to Warren Pabujian, escorted by Dean Saul Jimenez Sandoval.
Fresno State is the heart and soul of our community, and to be honored by them tonight is a great honor for me. I'd love to thank my wife and family for their support, my professors at Fresno State, and basically my family and friends that have always been supportive.
The next honoree is being awarded for his dedication and devotion to athletic excellence. He is a strong supporter of giving children the opportunity to be surrounded by positivity through coaching and mentoring.
I had always really wanted to go to Fresno. It even went back to my time at Kasner Junior High when I was invited to a Fellowship for Christian Athletes event with one of my friends. Going there, I got a chance to meet Trent Dilfer, who was the quarterback at Fresno State, and that was an awesome experience because he showed me that you could be a man of God and still have a toughness about you. And from that moment on, I wanted to be a bulldog, really, and there was never a question about it. Really, for me, it was staying home and being able to see my friends and family every game. I mean, I had probably like 70 or 80 family members from Bakersfield alone come up, and friends come up and see me up there every weekend, and going down the ramp and high-fiving all of them and getting to play in front of them. I remember playing against Oregon State, and they tear the goalpost down, and it's pretty much chaos on the field.
David Carr and his Bulldogs, and the biggest crowd ever to see a game, storms the field.
There's something special about being able to play in front of your friends and family like that, and to have those experiences that you just can't get. I wouldn't have got when I was in Washington. Even at UCLA, it wouldn't have been the same. I think that was the reason why those last few years in Fresno were that special.
With the first choice in the 2002 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select David Carr, quarterback from Fresno State.
I remember that whole thing, just a whirlwind, and next thing I know, I'm waking up in Houston, and I was the #1 pick, and yeah, we started that whole journey. I got my family to go out there. They got to experience all that. They still talk about it, so for me, it was well worth it for those memories. they say it takes a village to raise a child. It does, it really does. And we had that. We had our village around us, whether it was our church or our family. And that's really important to me. And because I saw how important it was, in my life growing up. That's the cool part for me, is just how many kids can we help? How many kids can we get in here and give them the opportunity that we had? And then we go from there and see if we can help some of these kids, live their dream like we did. When you talk about football and you talk about achieving certain things, I don't think about the Super Bowl ring that I have in my closet. I really don't even know where it is, and that's not a lie. I mean, it's in there somewhere, I hope. My kids haven't moved it, but I still go back to the Oregon State game. I still go back to when we beat Colorado. I still see Bernard Berrien running a kickback against Wisconsin. I mean, that was special because it again goes back to the community, and they were all there and they were all a part of it. And to be in a position to be able to be a top dog, I mean, that's just cool. I mean, I'll take anything from Fresno, honestly. And it's scattered all over my house. I still have my only jersey that I have in my gym is the Fresno State jersey. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's the only one that I have around here. And it's just pretty cool to be able to be recognized by them and, just be a part of it.
I'm proud to present the 2017 Outstanding Alumnus Award on behalf of the Department of Athletics to David Carr. Accepting the award on his behalf is Carla Cossey, escorted by Jim Bartko, Director of Athletics.
So for me personally, I want to thank literally everyone. I did not do this myself. To think that I did would be crazy. And so I know that the good Lord was looking out for me and put people in my life to get me down this path. And so I'm very thankful to those people. And man, I couldn't be more excited.
Our next top dog is being honored for putting service and family at the center of her work. She's a strong supporter of Fresno State, acknowledging that being a bulldog is a gift of a lifetime.
I was born and raised here in Fresno. I was very fortunate to be born to two wonderful parents. I had a surprising beginning for my parents. I was born with a cleft lip and palate. Over the first 15 years of my life, I had over 16 surgeries that gave me a lot of character and really was the base of who I am today. So I went to Fresno State with the idea that I would go into business with my father. I had no idea what that meant. I wanted to help him mainly because he always helped me. And so I knew I wanted to go into the insurance business because family was so important. And I knew that I could try to make his work a little bit less burdensome. So that's why I started in the insurance business, for only that reason. And then I found out what it was. I think the biggest part about sales is that I knew that if I hung in there for 5 years, I'd be successful. And 32 years later, it was true. I became successful, I learned more, I grew more, and today what we've accomplished and grown with our corporation, I'm really very proud of. One of the things that I think that we are starting to lack is the willingness to give of our own personal time. And it's so easy to make that excuse that I'm too tired or I have too much going on, but it takes so little and the reward is so great. It's a pleasure to be a part of the Craig School of Business Advisory Council. It's always a learning experience and there's so many amazing things going on there. Fresno State is looking for volunteers. And so you don't have to be a graduate of here to lend your time here. Come be a part of it. Call me. I'll take you around campus. I'll hook you up with somebody. If you have a moment, put your passion at Fresno State. I've never regretted any moment I've spent there.
It is with great pleasure that I present the 2017 Outstanding Alumna Award on behalf of the Craig School of Business to Catherine Horstman Hubert, escorted by Dean Robert Harbour.
I want to take this opportunity to thank my family for all their love and support. My mother, who's not with us tonight, who I love dearly. My father, who has always been the rock and the leader of our family. My brother, who is an amazing support. And of course, the main man in my life, Robert, and my main son, Sam. And all my college friends who made the trip and the journey here to be supportive of me. Thank you, Fresno State, for giving me this opportunity to be a top dog. I'll treasure it forever.
The next alumna has dedicated her life to making education her top priority, enhancing the lives of every student and teacher she has encountered. With over 40 years of service, she has definitely made her mark on education in the Valley.
I grew up in Fresno, born and raised, and I went to school at Centennial Elementary School, Sierra Junior High School, and McLean High School. I graduated in 1972. Upon graduation, I really wanted to be a teacher. My parents are both in education. It was just my dream. I want to be like Mom and Dad. I want to try to make a difference in the lives of kids. What an exciting opportunity I had to have parents that demonstrated care, but also demonstrated the value of education. I absolutely loved it from day one. And I knew that that was where my heart was, and that this is where I was meant to be, working with kids. Serving as the superintendent with Clovis Unified, I was really honored to have been appointed by our governing board. This is a team of individuals in our community who care about kids. Just working with the educational team is something I will value all of my days because they believed in me and entrusted me with our 40-some thousand kids. We could continue to improve student achievement. Fresno State has literally changed the trajectory of my life. Because of Fresno State, I got to be in the most amazing career that was always my hope and dream, but never could I have imagined that I could be this blessed to have had the opportunities that I've had. When I think back about learning that I was selected as a top dog at Fresno State, I was in complete shock. I thought, me? I have been to the top dog ceremonies. I know of these incredible people in our community who I've looked up to all of these years, and I thought, I am simply not in their league.
The 2017 Outstanding Alumna recipient, on behalf of the Kremen School of Education and Human Development, my former high school student, Janet Young, escorted by Associate Dean Laura Almio.
I'd like to take this opportunity really thank the educational team and the Clovis Unified School District who nominated me for this most prestigious award, and I sincerely want to thank Fresno State University and Dr. Castro and the educational team here. What an honor and a privilege to have been selected as a top dog. To all of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The next leader is a role model in the engineering community with a passion to serve. Donating time and talent, he actively strives to prepare Lyles College of Engineering students for the professional world.
Born and raised in Fresno, my dad was originally an auto mechanic, and he decided he didn't want to lay on hot or cold concrete floors for the rest of his life, so he actually went back to school and he got a degree in civil engineering, and so he had a second career that actually started here at Fresno State. To do that and to raise a family all at the same time was quite an accomplishment. My kids have done the same thing. So both of my kids are Fresno State grads, engineering. My daughter's a civil and my son is a mechanical engineer. They both married Fresno State engineering graduates. My son-in-law is a civil engineer. My daughter-in-law is an electrical engineer. My mom got her degree here. I didn't meet my wife here, but she got her degree here. So we're just sort of a Fresno State family. Name any investment where you could put that little money towards something. There's a lot of sweat equity there, but very little investment to the lifetime of earnings that you have if you get a college degree and you know, you're able to put that to use. We're called civil engineers because we serve society, and that's kind of where it came from. I've really come to appreciate that as I've worked through my career. Most of my career has been in transportation, but I have spent some time in public works. It's certainly something that took time for me to sort of grasp that, you know, we really are serving the public. Whether you work for a public agency or whether you work for a private agency, you're working on the same types of projects. Just the idea of being able to serve society, to make it better, to make people's lives better, it's really rewarding.
It is my pleasure to present the 2017 Outstanding Alumnus Award on behalf of the Lyles College of Engineering to Mike Leonardo, escorted by Dean Ram Nunna.
First and foremost, I want to thank my parents. They've both been an inspiration for me. They both worked very hard. My wife and kids who supported me every time I made a decision on a career path.
This next recipient is an exceptional example of hard work and perseverance. Coming from very humble beginnings, he has found great entrepreneurial success through innovation and collaboration.
I grew up in Madera. My father was a small farmer. We had grapes to raisins, about 40 acres. So it's a very good, productive way, I guess, to grow up. In '82, my father bought me an Apple IIc. I developed a strong aptitude towards computers and programming specifically. That computer, for me, was an opportunity to not do farm labor, which, you know, as a 12-year-old boy is pretty exciting. And so I fell in love with market research on the internet. And then in April of 2000, started a company called Decipher. And that company was entirely centric to online data collection and speed to insights for large brands. So you think about my experience with the MBA program. I went because I wanted to learn, and I got a ton out of it. In fact, there's not a week that goes by I don't pull from, probably a day that goes by, I don't pull from the reservoir of knowledge that I gained from that program. I needed help understanding and interpreting finance. It's not like consumer insights, survey data, etc. I'm very familiar with data. I understand it, but finance, accounting practices, etc. for me are just this like foreign language. The opportunities exist inside of our community for significant growth, and these young people recognize it, right? So what they need help with is people putting the pieces together for them, right? How do I get funding? How do I grow a business? These young entrepreneurs, similar to us, they want to stay local. Is there an opportunity for them to stay local? That's the question they're asking. And so I believe that we can help create that fertile soil that allows them to ultimately grow and prosper.
behalf of the Division of Research and Graduate Studies, it is my pleasure to present the 2017 Outstanding Alumnus Award to someone I've known all his life, Jamin Brazil, escorted by Dean James E. Marshall.
First and foremost, I would like to thank my wife. She's been amazing. Could not have done it without her. I would like to thank my parents, the way that they raised me, the upbringing, the investment that they made, which was significant. And I'd also like to thank Todd Burns. Without him, I'm confident that I wouldn't be exactly where I am right now.
I hope you are as impressed as I am with the first group of recipients. Before we move on, I would like to thank our sponsors who went above and beyond to help make this evening possible. Tonight's platinum sponsor is Valley Children's Healthcare, a leader in high-quality comprehensive healthcare services for children. Valley Children's Healthcare has a vision to provide the nation's best children's hospital. Thank you for your support. We ask you to hold your applause as we would like to give a very special thank you to the Office of the President as our premier on-campus sponsor and recognize our gold sponsors, Media Solutions Incorporated, Pro Screen Signs and Graphics. Please join me in thanking these partners for helping to make tonight a memorable evening for all of us. Now join me in a one-clap salute after each silver sponsor is recognized. Now, I know this will be challenging for some. When I say their name, your job is to clap. Here we go. Community Medical Centers, Jim and Yuko Brum, Reese Foods, the Beck Family, Wawona Frozen Foods, Wild Carter and Tipton, WSP USA Incorporated. Nice job, you guys actually held on that one. That was good. And also an exclusive media sponsor and caring community station, KC24. Go ahead. We do truly appreciate these community investments in Fresno State. The next honoree is a passionate advocate and has been instrumental in transforming interpreting services in California, improving early education programs, and assisting parents of the deaf community.
I was born in Sacramento, California, and grew up there my whole life. I grew up in a blue-collar home, in a blue-collar neighborhood. I thought I might be a secretary when I grew up, like my mom, you know. When I first thought I wanted to be a teacher of the deaf, I thought I was going to become a teacher of the deaf to help deaf people. And I learned pretty quickly deaf people don't need my help. You know, deaf kids need good teachers, just like all kids need good teachers. And so I was going to be the best teacher that I could. I never felt like I didn't know what I was doing because the training that I got here was amazing. And I loved teaching in a small farm town because I really believed that those children had as much right to really good teachers as the children who lived in large cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. What led me into deaf education was my interest in language and culture. It was never my interest in deafness as a disability. You know, Fresno State, to this day, I think still has the best deaf education program in the state of California, probably in the United States of America. As a principal, when I was hiring teachers, if I hired a teacher from Fresno State, I knew I was going to get a well-trained, well-qualified teacher. I didn't know that if they came from anywhere else. If this program was not here, it would be devastating for deaf education in California and probably in the United States. You know, I've been to many schools. I started at Sac City, I went to UC Davis, I went to UC Santa Barbara, I went to American River College. I've since gone to University of Laverne, University of the Pacific, Gallaudet University. When people ask me, where did you go to college? I say I went to Fresno State College. And it was called college at the time. I don't think it was called university. To be named a distinguished alumni of my school, it just means everything to me.
It is my honor to present the 2017 Outstanding Alumna Award on behalf of the College of Health and Human Services to Nancy Gross Sager, escorted by Dean Jody Hironaka, Juto.
I believe that it was Paul Ogden who actually nominated me for this award, so I would really like to thank him. I am extremely humbled to be the Top Dog Award winner for the College of Health and Human Services.
Our next recipient dedicated his career to strategic planning, process improvement, and organizational development. His passion for community benefit organizations is evidenced by the many boards he has served and his commitment to our community.
I moved to Fresno when I was 3 months old, when my parents adopted me. So I grew up here, went to Lafayette Elementary, Centennial Elementary, Sierra Junior High, McLean High School, and then I came out here to then Fresno State College. I rolled raisins for 2 days and got the $49 for my student fees, so people will hate to hear that now, but that's what it cost in 1966. $49 got me in, and books were, $10 was an expensive book, so it was a lot easier to go to school then, a whole lot easier. I was an English major. I'd look at the catalog and there were all these wonderful things, so it was the beginning of what has been a pattern of lifelong learning. I mean, you can't stop learning, and there's just too many interesting things. So I managed to get out in 4 years. My business model is making Monday the best day of the week. So, we don't say TGIM, right? The line that people say is, thank God it's Friday, I get to go away and stop doing this thing. And what a tragedy that is. What a tragedy. Here we're the place we spend most of our lives, most of our conscious lives is at work. First motto of my business is making Monday the best day of the week. And the second one is just make a difference in what you're doing, make a positive difference in what you're doing. There's the story of the glass. Is it half empty or half full? And some people say it's half empty and they go around grumpy because it's the end of their life or whatever. And some people say it's half full and isn't this cool? And my belief is that it's completely full all the time. A temple of truth in a time when everybody is challenging the existence of facts. And here, you can really find out what's true. And you have people who will help you find that out. People called librarians. I thought I didn't know what they did but put books on stacks, but they have these incredible resources. So Peter asked me if I'd be willing to help with the Friends. I thought, well, yeah, I should do that. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it. We bring programs in for folks who are the Friends of the Library and help with that. And that's been fun. But also just talking about the library and the community and representing it and reminding people how important it is that it's here. To those who much is given, much is required. And I think that really is true. So, and for those of us who are older, the olders, who have maybe time and maybe money and maybe not so much energy, but well, you can buy a little energy, are we investing back in the community? Because I plan on staying here and I want it to be the kind of community I'm proud of.
It's a pleasure to award the 2017 Outstanding Alumnus Award on behalf of the Henry Madden Library to my high school classmate, Paul E. Pierce, escorted by Dean Delrita Hornbuckle.
I particularly want to thank my wife, Patience Milrod, who has inspired me to go places I never thought I would go. We're just getting started. I also want to appreciate and thank my child, Darrow, who also continues to challenge me every day to pay better attention to the people around me and what's going on in the world. And then I want to thank my teachers at Fresno State. Okay, I want to thank some of my teachers at Fresno State, right? The ones who really challenged and inspired me.
The next alumnus is being recognized as a steadfast champion of Fresno State and our Valley. He strives to put others' needs above his own, contributing to various community service activities.
Well, I grew up in Old Fig, and so I went to Bullard Elementary. There wasn't a junior high, so as an 8th grader, Bullard started and we went to 8th grade. So I had a fairly narrow educational career because I went from one end of Barstow to the other end for college. There are a whole lot of things that might not have ever happened in my life had I not done that. My father was the typical general practice surgeon physician, absolutely dedicated to his patients, and that comes at a cost in the family. And I just made a decision, we made a decision that if that's the way medicine was going to be, we didn't want that. I wanted to be able to go to my kids' basketball games and do things like that. The variety of experiences, whether it be from student government to the ability to travel, the educational side of it, maybe most important was because of the schedule that I had in classes and that I was also working. You learned how to marshal your time, and that worked itself extremely well moving into a dental practice. This was really a good educational institution. And for those of us that were going to go on to graduate school somewhere else, this was a wonderful foundation in terms of preparation for professional school. Ours was infinitely superior. I mean, my job as a dentist was to treat patients. It wasn't about what was really important for me, it was what is important for you. What are your felt needs? And that's part of the same thing in the community. What are the needs and wants of the community and how can I be involved? Universities are an intellectual component of the community and need to be acknowledged and supported in that way. And I am really excited to receive this award with Dr. Castro as my president. He and Mary are doing such awesome things. And the breadth of the research that's going on now, all of these activities is really fun to see.
On behalf of the College of Science and Mathematics, I'm happy to present the 2017 Top Dog Outstanding Alumnus Award to Rodden Coburn III, escorted by Dean Christopher Meyer.
First on the list is Lynn Enders for introducing me to Shelley, and then to Shelley. With regard to the university, all of our professors, the whole staff, the administration, Scotty Wilson, who got me out of a couple of tighter jams, who was assistant dean of students then. It's the family of Fresno State that I want to thank.
Our next honoree is well known internationally for her economic development work and her passion for bringing business opportunities to the Central Valley. She is actively involved in board leadership, serving as a true partner to Valley business.
Well, I grew up right here in Fresno, actually not very far from Fresno State. Our house was just off of Shaw on Santa Ana, And I believe in our neighborhood, we were the farthest north that you could get and still be in Fresno, because behind us were the fig orchards. I was a cheerleader at Hoover High School for the 3 years I was there. My mom, my dad, and my brother all graduated from Fresno State, so I was the fourth. In 1999, we had a tragedy in our family. Our youngest daughter died, and one of the things that I had promised her early on when we were talking about what we wanted to do in life was that I would go back and get my degree, and she was going to do the same thing. We had agreed we were going to do it together. She wanted to be a police officer, and she thought Fresno State would have been a wonderful place to do that. So I said, okay, you go that direction and I'll do criminology, because I knew I always wanted to go to law school. And then when she died, it took about a year of just being able to breathe. And at the end of that year, I said, you know what, I'm gonna honor that promise, and I'm gonna go back to Fresno State and do the best that I could do for her. I met some folks that were in the criminology department, and because I had worked at the Rape Crisis Center, I heard about victimology, and so I said, well, maybe I'll take a couple of classes there and see how that fits. And it was such a difficult time in my life, and the folks in criminology felt like home right away, and they welcomed me into the department. I took, I think, the first 3 classes, and I was absolutely hooked. And it wasn't just, gee, this is an interesting class to take. They really cared about how I was doing and if this was a good fit for me. And they really did walk me through those first few months to make sure that I was okay. So I could have gone anywhere, but really it was the draw of coming back to Fresno and giving back to my community that gave to me. Fresno State is one of those that I felt like, you know, coming back here and making sure that my kids had that experience, making sure that they felt that same thing that I was able to feel this entire time. Even though Fresno itself, you know, 500,000 people here, right? It still has that small town feel to it. I think Fresno State is that same thing. We have this huge campus, this wonderful campus, but it still has that sort of small campus feel, that you still feel like you know people here and that this is a place that really cares about you.
Please join me in honoring the 2017 Top Dog Outstanding Alumna on behalf of the College of Social Sciences to my neighbor, Leanne Eager, escorted by Dean Michelle Dinbesti.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Fresno State. Second, my staff at the EDC, and especially Merritt Pacini. Also to Diana Gomez and Henry Perea for nominating me for this award. To my brother, who has always been my biggest cheerleader. And to my mom and dad, who not only showed me, but really taught me that I could do whatever I wanted to do in life. To my forever best friend, Kim. She's my daughter, my best friend, really my mentor. To my beautiful, perfect grandchildren. And certainly last but not least, to Jenny, I hope I made you proud.
This next recipient is an advocate for building bridges to connect people, exchange information, and help improve lives. At Fresno State, he serves on the University Advisory Board and helps create educational bridges for youth in our valley.
I grew up in Porterville. I was in a relatively large family, 3 boys, 3 girls, and I was in the tail end of that. I had a younger brother, but everybody else was older than I was. It was a fun, happy childhood, growing up in an agricultural area, just had a great time. It instilled basically my priorities as God, family, work, fun, and I instill that in my sons all the time. Everybody talks about lucky people. Well, lucky people are lucky because they are prepared when the opportunity presents itself and you're able to execute on it. That's where opportunities come from. It's hard work and being prepared. Joy, peace, and happiness doesn't come from money. It comes from having a passion, something that you really care about. I actually built bridges in Africa. I think that experience in Kenya in serving people that are in greater need than Americans, we don't really get to see poverty at that level. I mean, it's pretty significant there. And being able to be there to do that, when you see those faces, and the thing that was funny, when we brought that metal bridge in, we brought the biggest crane that they had in Kenya is in this rural community. People didn't know what it was as it's driving in. And then it lifted this 95-foot bridge and just placed it right perfectly, right where it needed to be on both sides of the bridge. So that was pretty cool. That was a really cool experience. When you build a bridge, when you're connecting people that don't have anything with something that they can have, and all the promises on the other side, that's an important part. There are people in our community that are without. And for them to cross on the other side, they need a bridge. They need something to get them there, so they get to Fresno State. Now they've got the education. Then we need people to take them from the education to industry, to get them to take that knowledge that they've got and apply it. So it all kind of like ties together. And when you see Fresno State for what it's become, it's really an exciting place to be from and to be part of. But I liked it, and I ended up staying at Fresno. So I'm glad I came to Fresno State.
On behalf of the Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, it is my pleasure to present the 2017 Top Dog Outstanding Alumnus Award to Chris Roggenstein, escorted by Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Frank Lamas.
Without my parents and my family, I would not be the top dog, if you will. And then my own family, my wife, my two sons, having them be supportive and encouraging, and just their role has been instrumental.
Good evening. I'm Valerie Vucich with the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools Office and last year's Arthur Safstrom Service Award winner. It's my honor to introduce this year's recipient to you. The Arthur Safstrom Service Award is presented to an alumnus, faculty, staff, or friend of Fresno State who's given outstanding service to the Fresno State Alumni Association and the university. This year's recipient truly embodies a spirit of service to the community. He's a lifelong entrepreneur who puts others at the heart of his work. He finds joy in new ideas and in working with others to build a prosperous future right here for our valley. He's been involved in several civic organizations, having given time to Valley PBS, Valley Public Radio, local and state Chamber of Commerce, and the Boys and Girls Clubs, and even more. His service to Fresno State stretches to every corner of the university, including athletics, the College of Arts and Humanities, the Craig School of Business, Henry Madden Library, and the Foundation Board of Governors. In an effort to grow opportunities for our region, he collaborated with Fresno State to create the Lyles Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. He and his family remain committed to Fresno State's College of Engineering to better prepare students for careers in engineering and construction management. All of this is done in the spirit of giving to our local area and providing a chance for upward mobility for those who might otherwise be left behind. It is my great honor to present the 2017 Arthur Safstrom Service Award to a deserving role model, Bill Lyles, escorted by Fresno State Alumni President Brian Domingos.
Well, I'm very appreciative of the honor granted to me. So the fact that I chose not to have a video was because I really didn't want this to be about me. The fact that I was going to have a chance to talk to 1,200 people this evening was one that I wanted to go back and sort of tell a lot of things that I've observed in our area, Central Valley, Fresno. Back in the early 80s, Dan Whitehurst was our mayor, and he basically, remember, talked about the tale of two cities. The 1/3 of great wealth was constantly moving north, and the 2/3 left behind. My vision of the thing was a little beyond Fresno, dealing with the valley from Bakersfield to Sacramento. And I coined the term Central Valley Appalachia, which maybe a few of you have remembered. I know young people don't even know what that means and haven't ever heard of it, but I think older people in this room know where Appalachia started and how poverty-stricken it was. In the late 70s, the Chamber of Commerce here in the community ended up requesting a plan from SRI, Stanford Research Institute. And they presented a plan that said agriculture is going to be your main source of revenue, your main source of substance that supports the valley and the region. But if you really want to basically solve the problems that you have of people left behind, you need to develop some low, how do I put it, clean energy and fabrication and manufacturing. As time went on, the agricultural goods in the early years were shipped over to the San Jose area for fabrication and canning, freezing. But as San Jose and the Silicon Valley developed, it became too expensive. And through creativity, much of that because of cost and the chance of an opportunity, a lot of that fabrication and assembly came back, and we developed vertical integration in the agricultural industry that is our key and central wealth. At that time, I looked and the things that were happening, and I thought, you know, if agricultural needed to come back because of high costs over there, why shouldn't we bring jobs back over here as well? Why wouldn't this be the perfect place? Close by to where they'd keep the research and development, the universities, the legal, the finance, that even places around the world that try to go others seem to need to still come back to Silicon Valley. Well, the thing that was recommended by SRI was that we developed a large industrial park. We had a lot of small industrial parks, 100-acre, 200-acre, and as you develop them, in fact, partnerships that I was involved in at the time developed Los Olivos, Las Palmas, Shaw Gates, but they were small. They did a nice job, but the land around them all developed up and you couldn't go anywhere and you couldn't get much done. So the recommendations that were made to us by SRI, I thought were a wonderful idea. Unfortunately, that never really got done. After years and years of trying to get that park done by me and others, somehow other things were always more important. So for 25 or 30 years, that went without doing, and basically, a lot of people felt that we couldn't even do that kind of business. Well, that wasn't quite true, because Pelco came to town with Rod Heinrich. We got him with the Economic Development Corporation, and he located up at Shaw Gates. And we basically bought that firm when he was concerned about the future. And it was because of Clovis Industrial Park that was more productive in thinking ahead than some of the rest of us. Pelco was able to grow from 60 employees to 2,600. Now, with the change in technology and the aging of my management that we were a partner with, the management owned half the company, they decided they needed to sell, and maybe they were right. But the net result is, in selling to a worldwide company, with those jobs sank from 2,600 to less than 300 now. Ag is facing problems today because of water, and basically trying to bring businesses to here that we could have done, I think, really years ago, is going to be made harder by the fact that the regulations and the tax system that California has moved into may not hurt the coastal areas, but along with lack of planning for water, the large taxes and regulations are preventing our Central Valley from being what it could be. I remember when I was dating back 1949, I grew up in a little town of Avenel, the oil fields over on the other side of the valley. And what Joe referred to earlier, Dr. Castro referred to earlier, yeah, I got bullied, and I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like when the Okies and the Arkies came in from Devil Den and were impoverished. But you know, after a generation, they all went up, and we don't even think of them anymore because they moved up and were just part of our society. Well, the other thing I remember looking when I played football in 1949, I looked through the north goalposts, the San Joaquin Memorial, across McKinley Boulevard, and there was nothing but open fields between there and Clovis. So what has happened is we have grown clear to the river, and unfortunately, the Tale of Two Cities, that was the size it was at that time, is now much, much larger. It's grown the 2/3 that was in the probably south of McKinley, moved up to Shields and then to Shaw, parts of it. And we really haven't solved the problems we have to do. So very quickly, what is the solution? I believe, well, first of all, let me say one thing. We've had difficult times in the past. So this isn't the first time that places have had times. After the Revolutionary War, we gained our independence. We basically, 80% of our country was needed to produce the food we could eat. Over a period of time, and much adjustment, I'm sure, 3 to 4% of our population, and that created wealth and a better standard of living. At the end of the 1800s and early 1900s, we had the Industrial Revolution, and it created a great deal of turmoil. I don't think we really came out of it completely until World War II created a climate that the United States was standing, and we were able to produce the goods to rebuild the world, and it created great prosperity. Unfortunately, as time going on, we started, instead of using our resources for value added and producing goods, we started living and buying goods from overseas and borrowing money to have overconsumption. And when you borrow money to create value, you create wealth. When you borrow money for excess consumption, you create a banana republic, is my term for it. In any case, now, having gone through those times, we are now in the age of a technological revolution. Trying to move as quickly as we've been trying to move has left a lot of people without a work. And when working people in their late 50s or early 60s are left without jobs, they don't last long. We have a lot of people left behind in our area, in that 2/3 of our city, and we hear about it every day. The poverty, the drugs, the crime. And we wonder why we don't solve it. Well, in the case of the ag, we didn't plan for continuing the things we started in the mid-60s with the California Aqueduct. We haven't continued the storage and the saving of water when it was available. And we've had disputes between the North and the South and the environmentalists and the agriculture. Everybody has an idea, and so we've done nothing. Now we're facing the difficulty we're facing is we've depleted water resources, and our ag is struggling. The end result of all of this is times are such that we need to find a way, and I think the answer in this technological age is we cannot compete in a world where some places in the world have $3 a day wages. Imagine that, $3 a day. And we're talking about raising our minimum wage to $15. So, in effect, what we've really got to do is we've got to move in the areas. We've never furnished enough engineers in California. We've always had to import them. Now today, we need the entire field that derives from math and science is where the future lies if we want to maintain our standard of living in this country and stay ahead of the world while we hope the rest of the world gradually narrows the gap with us and we have a better world for all. The STEM program is being talked about. I imagine most of you have heard about it. It really deals with education in math and science. And what we need to do is work from the grammar schools up. I understand the Irvine Foundation and the Bechtel Corporation are working with that to help it go in the community. But math and science needs to be pushed a lot harder. It's not always the easiest subject, but if people can realize that's their chance to escape the climate they're in, the poverty they're in, and to have a chance for upward mobility, that's what we've got to get people to understand. And then the next step is better math and science in the high schools, at the junior college level. And then preparation, obviously, the university. The university here in Fresno is funded on a per capita basis. And I'm sure that that does create problems for the leadership in supporting courses that cost more than other courses like engineering and some of the other technical fields. I know I see the Hallowells here and the Giffens, and the Giffens, yes, and the Bonners. We all loved culture. And those families have traditionally supported culture in the community. But you know, the community is not as strong as it should be. And culture cannot really survive, and jobs in culture can't survive unless we have a strong economy. So supporting a job economy in the long run will support the schools of humanities and arts, the people that graduate from those that are also vital to a well and strong society. In closing, I'd like to tell you that I believe that Dr. Castro and Mary have been a great godsend to come to our community. They grew up in this valley, as did Tim White, our chancellor, grew up in Hanford, went to Fresno State. I understand he couldn't be here tonight. But these leaders that understand the valley and love Fresno are doing the things and giving the leadership to pull this university together and push the programs that are not necessarily the cheapest or the easiest to keep around, but they are the key to creating jobs that can take us to the next level. That young people, if they come get the scholarship, well, I'll stop here. These young people in the community probably, even with the best of help, could not go away to school someplace else. So it's vital that we have these programs close by where they can stay in their homes, even have part-time jobs, and have the chance to get the education. Anything in the technology areas today, with healthcare, math, science-oriented engineering, innovation and entrepreneurship, and even takes 2 or 3 disciplines that have gone to the top, and then takes those disciplines and with the input from, say, even artistic or business and engineering or agriculture, takes us to a new level. Those are the things that will keep America at the top and strong, instead of losing ourselves and going down in decay and not solving the problems we need to solve. I can tell you that your leadership that's here now, at the chancellor's level, at the university, and the people that are working, I'll be very familiar with Mary and Joe, are doing a fabulous job, and we're proud to have them. One little story. I was on the Private Industry Council, amongst other things, back in the late 70s, early 80s. And 40,000 Hmongs came to this area. They were the last of probably some 70 or 80 different nationalities that have come to this valley, brought here by agriculture, that make up our population today. Those Hmongs had never had a written language until about 50 years before they came here. The only core training that we could give them at that time was English as a second language and on-the-job hand work with their hands. Today, some of those Hmongs, a generation later, are the valedictorians in many of our schools. This is a salvation. It's not going to be overnight. It can't be quickly, but step by step, when other things haven't taken place that would have made it easier, and our Tale of Two Cities and our Central Valley of Appalachia has grown in population to a huge size, is the best chance we have of creating upward mobility for those left behind. That's the reason I wanted to talk to you. I haven't ever done anything like this before, and I usually don't talk to crowds a lot. But this is my dream, and I ask you all to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Our final award this evening is the highest honor presented by the Fresno State Alumni Association. Our next honoree describes herself as the daughter and granddaughter of her heroes. For her, family and business have always gone hand in hand. As a child growing up in the Valley business, the family business, she learned the value of hard work at a young age. She also learned the importance of paying it forward, a value she demonstrates through her work with Fresno State, Valley Children's Hospital, and Reese for Kids, a nonprofit organization made up entirely of Reese Food team member volunteers. She is being recognized for her continued commitment to education, the power of family business, and community.
I was born in Tulare, California. Tulare's always been a big part of our family. Our company was founded there, so born and raised there. I went to high school there. I had gone away to college and had this grand plan of getting out of the area, but after meeting my husband and I was driving back and forth, probably every weekend, I made the decision to come back to the area. And that's when I decided to enroll at Fresno State. And it was so refreshing. I loved school from that point on when I was here because the class sizes were smaller. I got to know my professors and they were very accessible. I was working part-time at Reese, and so a lot of the business challenges we were facing, they were directly relatable to what I was studying during school. So it was really a terrific experience. For me, college gave me the confidence to know that I wanted to be part of our family business for the long term and that I could contribute. I started in marketing, spent time in sales, I managed product development. I think I've managed about every department that we have, of course on a much smaller scale. Whenever somebody was missing, I think they're like, Kim will do it. So I think in baseball terms, I'm kind of the utility player, which has eventually led to me becoming the interim CEO and chairman of the company. Well, I think my parents were a great example for, I can remember my mother from early on, she was always involved in volunteering. My father more so through the business, but they were great examples about giving back. Our family has been so blessed that we want to pay those blessings forward. And I think it's part of our company culture, and I hope it's a reason why people want to be a part of our business. We try to do a lot. We have our Reese for Kids, which is a nonprofit organization made up of our team members. So I think they've raised over $3 million and given back to graduating high school students and community college graduates to help give them that vote of confidence that we believe in them. It also gives you a lot of pride. You read what these kids, what they go through, they're just amazing, and it gives you a lot of hope for the future. I am just so proud of that group. They take their obligation to the community very seriously, and we support them 100%.
Please join me in welcoming Kim Reese Beck, your 2017 Distinguished Alumna for California State University, Fresno, escorted by President Dr. Joseph I. Castro.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to congratulate all of the Top Dog winners tonight. You are all truly an inspiration to me. I am just so honored to receive this award. The list of those preceding me are so impressive, and they're people that I admire so much, like Todd Centerpack, the CEO of Valley Children's Healthcare, and Bill Smitkamp, leader in his own family business and in the community, and the many others that were on that list earlier tonight. It is no surprise that I have been incredibly blessed to be part of an amazing business founded by my father and my grandfather, Louis and Fred. Blessed to have a loving and supportive family. Okay, if you know the Reese, we're very emotional, so bear with me. My mom, Lesta, is here tonight. My father, Fred, of course, and my stepmom, Mitzi, my sons. Sorry. Tyler. Travis and Trent, my daughters-in-law, Kim and Savannah. They're gonna take care of me when I get old, I hope. And of course, my husband, Tom, who has been by my side for over 32 years. Each of you are amazing, and I'm blessed to have you in my life. Thank you for your constant love and support and your patience. Thank you too to the Reese team members that are here tonight who are supporting me. I need that support, and I'm so glad you were here to share this special moment with me, and for all of your warm congratulations the last few weeks. As I took time to prepare for my remarks tonight, I found myself reflecting on all that I've done and all that I've experienced. I don't know how else to describe it, but my heart is very full tonight. Over the years, I have tried hard to count my many blessings every day, taking time to remember what's truly important, and constantly working to pay those blessings forward, however and whenever I can. And while our family has also been blessed in many ways, I believe one of our biggest blessings is the fact that the Reese family has the best management team in the food industry today, and it is led by our CEO, Rachel Cullen. Thank you, Rachel. But as you would expect, along with our blessings, our family business has faced many challenges throughout the years, just like any other family business. What I want to say is how proud I am of how our business has responded to those challenges, turning them into opportunities to learn, to grow, and to become an even better company. As a child, I was so incredibly proud of my father and my grandfather. I always knew I wanted to be part of the family business. I love Reese Foods and all that it stands for. I know that 3,600 team members and their families count on the Reese family and our management team to make the best possible long-term decisions for the business. I hope that my boys and the other members of the fourth generation of the Reese family will embrace that same stewardship. With the success of Reese Foods has also come the opportunity to invest back into our community. We are passionate about children and education. Our Reese for Kids scholarship program has supported many a bulldog. As we have become more involved with the have become more involved with the university through the Board of Governors, I have developed really a much greater awareness and appreciation for the importance of the university in our community's future. Thank you, President Castro, for your leadership. You have made us all so incredibly proud to be Fresno State Bulldogs. I would never have imagined receiving an award such as this, so I just want to thank you again for this amazing honor, and I will continue to work hard to make you all proud. Thank you so much.
We're so fortunate to have Kim Reese Beck as our representative. Thank you so much. I did want to inform you that you did not have to be a former student, a neighbor, a friend, or an old classmate of mine to get one of these awards tonight. What a compelling group of individuals. Congratulations to all of our award recipients. You play an integral part in Fresno State's journey. Would all of the 2017 Top Dog recipients please return to the stage? Please come back up now. Our 2017 Top Dogs. I was going to say, well, I'm still young, but on behalf of the Fresno State Alumni Association, Thank you for joining us in the celebration of Fresno State's distinguished and leading alumni. As supporters, students, alumni, and friends, tonight should inspire us all. Tonight, we heard 14 amazing alumni stories. The bold stories of a passionate speaker, a loyal volunteer, and an innovative trailblazer. We heard from leaders in agricultural and business role models in education, and a #1 NFL draft pick. We heard stories of falling in love at Fresno State, lifting up education and embracing opportunity. Our top dogs are passionately applying their energy while modeling service above self. Please note the video.
The lifeline of the university is its community support, and if we don't support the university, we're just hurting ourselves.
The important thing with staying involved with Fresno State is the students that are behind you. As alumni, we still have a responsibility, and it's not just to go to the games and wear your polo and say, I used to do this, and that's not what it's about. It's about the kids that are on the sidelines and the kids that are in the stands, and if you get a chance to talk to them, don't just tell them that you did it, tell them how you did it.
To me, it's a hidden jewel that a lot of folks don't really understand how really valuable it is in the depth of the program. And all you got to do is look at some of the national rankings that have come out over the past several years that give testimony to the elevation of this program from what was initially a teacher's college to a research university.
Whether it's writing the check or having them come to your office to be interns, whether it's ensuring that you hire Fresno State students, I think all of those things we have to keep top of mind.
This is where our leaders are going to come from, this school, and so we want to invest. We consider it an investment in the future.
I think that the best part about Fresno State is that it's right here in our backyard, and we get this amazing university that also keeps growing. It's amazing what we have achieved and what we will continue to achieve here.
Thank you for being a part of this very special celebration. As we reflect on the stories of tonight's honorees, carry their inspiration with you as you dream big, live boldly, and ask yourself, what is my bulldog story? Please join me in a final round of applause for an outstanding group of 2017 Top Dog honorees.